Horror Talk Live, episode 16. I am Brian. This right here is Troy. And we are here to talk about some horror. And tonight we're going to go to Crypt Keeper territory, and we're going to talk about Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night. Yes. We just got done watching it. And
For the corpse.
so, yes, we just finished up watching Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night. And this is Troy's first time watch. I've seen it many times over the years. Used to own it on VHS, DVD, and now Blu-ray from Scream Factory. Actually, it does need a 4K though. It's a very good looking movie, and it definitely needs a 4K. Happy Friday, everybody! Brandon and Kurt. Hope you're all doing well out there and ready for the weekend. Brandon, I hope you're feeling better. I know you were plowing through some movies the last couple days and still on your Carl's Weathers journey. Brandon, when he goes on journeys, he's on it, and you got to respect it. He sticks with it and stays after it. So, welcome. Thanks for spending some time with us this evening. Again, I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you all had a great week. And we saw a couple movies since the last time we've all been together. We saw A Working Man last Friday night. Troy loves Jason Statham movies. I'm a fan too. I like a good R-rated action movie, and really, Jason Statham, if you think about it, is one of our last remaining R-rated man on a mission type action stars. We don't have too many like him left. He might be the only one left, at least theatrical releases, and he's still kicking it, man. He just goes, "Hi, mom." Say hi. He's still at it, and I gotta respect it. I know they're making Beekeeper 2, and if this movie does well, it's based on a book series by Chuck Dixon. I know they want to make a sequel. I think they already have a script written, and I know Stallone and David Ayer said they'd like to come back and do a sequel with Statham, so we'll see what happens. So we saw that movie, we enjoyed it, and last night, me, Troy, hey Kathy,
Hi.
we went to see Hell of a Summer, starring Finn Wolfhard. Hey, Rich. Happy
Hello.
Friday, buddy. Your day's about to get a whole lot better now that your work day is over. Um, we got to see A Hell of a Summer last night. It's a camp slasher film. We went with our good friend Dale _ A from the Bat and Spider podcast, and I thought it was okay. Troy liked it a little bit more than I did. You can see my quick out of the theater reaction I just posted earlier today. It was okay. A lot of forced comedy that didn't land for me. And they cut away a lot for the kills. There's one really good kill in the movie they show, right?
Yeah.
We won't say what it is, but there's one really good kill, and a lot of them they cut away from, unfortunately. So it was kind of a letdown on that level. And then there's not enough slashing for a camp slasher. And then the comedy, it was like they were afraid to go all in. And then what I mean by that is like it's almost like it wanted to be an 80s style, sex comedy slasher film, but they were afraid to push it that far. So I didn't laugh as much as I would have liked, or as much as they probably thought I should have, or other people should have. But it was okay. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Troy gave it a
8.
8 out of 10. The Mask on the Killer is cool. The music was definitely right out of the 80s. And I thought they did a pretty good job directing it. But at the end of the day, it didn't reach the heights of, say, something like Friday the 13th, some of the better Friday the 13th movies, or Sleepaway Camp. It didn't quite get there. But it was fine. It was fine. Then I know a couple horror movies are coming out soon, coming up, and I know they just dropped the Five Nights at Freddy's sequel trailer. Did you watch that when I sent it to you?
No, I didn't.
You didn't watch it?
No.
You've been asking me about Five Nights at Freddy's for a while. We have a video game horror movie coming out this month. I can't remember the name of it. Hi, Landon.
Hi, Landon.
Dead by Daylight, is that what it is?
Huh?
Coming out, directed by David Sandberg. I'm checking.
You didn't tell me this.
I might be thinking of the wrong title. But there is a horror movie coming out by the end of the month that I wouldn't mind seeing. And then in May we get the next Final Destination movie, Final Destination Bloodlines. I'm excited about that. It looks pretty cool. There's a trailer out there on YouTube if you're so inclined to go check it out. We also went to Myrtle Beach a couple weeks back.
Yep.
Had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
We took Troy to see Seven Dust at the House of Blues down there. And what'd you think?
Loud.
But you had a good time. We had a good time, right?
Yeah.
We'd see Seven Dust again, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to go see them again.
Yep. Troy's on his concert journey. Yeah, can't wait for Final Destination, Kurt. It's gonna be here before you know it. I mean, it's already April, so we only got another month and a couple weeks, and it'll be here. We're going to see Disturbed in a couple weeks at the Lenovo Arena over here in Raleigh, and then we're going to see Everclear and Being of May. They're playing like 15 minutes from our house at a baseball stadium, and we got tickets. We're going to see Metallica at the end of May with Pantera and Suicidal Tendencies, which is gonna be pretty cool. I seen Metallica once in Baltimore years ago, so I'm excited about this show. And Troy's never seen him, so he's really excited.
Mm-hmm.
And his Uncle Richie's coming down to go to the concert too, so should be a good time. But anyway, what we're here for is, and I'll get you out of here before Joe Bob starts, because I know Joe Bob starts at 9. Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. Tales from the Crypt Demon Night came about because of the series Tales from the Crypt on HBO. I'm sure a lot of you have seen Tales from the Crypt on HBO. I remember sleeping over at my buddy Justin's house, Justin Tewksbury, up the street from where I grew up, and we would watch that on a Friday night on HBO because we didn't have HBO at our house. So I had to sleep over at my buddy's house, and we watched it on a Friday night with a pizza and a bunch of soda, over caffeinated, you know. So I love the series. It's been a while since I have the first two seasons on DVD.
You just learned about the second one.
Yeah, I forgot I had the second one. Jesus, I have so many freaking movies. You forget sometimes what you got. I gotta get better organized. My collection's a mess right now, so I'm ashamed of myself. I really am. But I was always a fan, and when they decided to make a movie, it was an exciting time. I didn't get to see this in the theater, but I got to see it once it hit the rental video market. So I've seen this movie since the 90s when it came out in VHS. And it's a movie, I had the soundtrack. Rich, I think, did you have the soundtrack too, Rich? Because you got Pantera on there, Filter, Megadeth, a bunch of other bands. I had it on cassette tape. I don't have it on CD, I don't think. I'd have to go back through the archives and see if I have it. But we used to rock out. I know, Brandon, I'm slacking. My physical media is a mess. I got to get my house in order. I'm ashamed of myself. Troy's like, you don't know where your movies are? I'm like, and it's like the first time in my life I didn't know where movies were. I've always been on top of it. Ask Rich. I used to be psychotic about it, and I've let it go, and I'm ashamed of myself. I will take 10 lashings in the corner at midnight. But yeah, used to rock out to the soundtrack. Had a badass soundtrack. I had that thing growing up. I think I got it off of Columbia House. Oh, God, the Columbia House days. Do you have it, Rich? Okay, I thought you had it. We used to rock out to that at your house at night playing darts. So I'm always a fan of Tales from the Crypt. Now, this movie came out January 13th, Friday the 13th of 1995. It's rated R. It's an hour and 32 minutes long, which is one of the strengths, and this movie moves at a good pace. Had a budget of only $12 million, and when you think about when you watch the film, the amount of effects work they did, it was all... The whole movie was shot on a soundstage. They built all the sets inside of an aircraft hangar, and that's how they shot it. And they did a lot of effects and work for $12 million. When it released that winter, it made $21 million. Now, why they released this in the winter, I don't know. This is a perfect Halloween movie to release around Halloween time. So I think there was a missed opportunity there, but it made a little bit of money, and I know it made money on the rental market. That's why they made Bordello of Blood. Now, this wasn't supposed to be the first movie out of the gate. They had planned a trilogy of movies. Demon Night was supposed to be the second film. The other two films they had scripts for, they never made those movies. This movie got made first because Universal figured it was the better movie to make first out of the gate, the more palatable one that they can advertise to audiences. So that's why this one got made first. And this script had been around since 87. We'll get into that later. But this script had been around all the way back in the 80s, and I think it made it until 94, and it came out in 95. So to direct this film, we have Ernest Dickerson directed this film. He was a cinematographer for a long time. He worked with Spike Lee and other folks, and then he directed Surviving the Game in '94. He directed other things. I'm just a couple notable ones. Surviving the Game in '94, which is a cool movie with a bunch of character actors. Gary Busey, um, Ice T's in that movie. Trying to think who else. Charles Dutton's in that movie. A bunch of notable character actors. It's a pretty cool, badass movie. It's basically a take on The Most Dangerous Game. And he directed in '96, right after this, Bulletproof with Adam Sandler and Damon Wayans, which I know was a big hit. I'm not a big fan of that movie, but that movie was a big hit. And all the producers came aboard. I mean, the ones that were running the show, like Robert Zemeckis, Joel Silver, Walter Hill, and Richard Donner, were all involved in this film. Now, the cast of this movie, I love the cast of this film. Um, oh yeah, Brandon, that's a great double feature. Surviving the Game and Hard Target, pretty much, yeah, that's a badass double feature. I might have to do that sometime. That's a great double feature right there. Yeah, Surviving the Game is great, Kurt. A very underrated film. We got Billy Zane in my favorite role he's ever done, and he's done a lot of roles. I love him in Tombstone, Titanic, even The Phantom. Even though he got that over Bruce Campbell, because Bruce Campbell was supposed to be the Phantom too. They both auditioned, but Billy Zane got it. But this is my favorite Billy Zane role, and supposedly that's why he got Titanic, because Cameron saw this movie and hired him for Titanic as the villain there. He plays the collector, and Zane was in Back to the Future in '85. He's in Back to the Future 2, Critters in '86. He was the daughter's boyfriend. He gets killed pretty quickly into the movie, but he's in that film. And in this movie, he was actually in a Tales from the Crypt episode in '93, so he was very familiar with the material, and he came in, and I love his performance here as a collector. We got the great William Sadler, a really renowned character actor. He's been working since the late '70s, so they brought him in as one of the leads as Breaker, a World War I vet who got this key in the trenches of World War I. By a soldier named Dickerson, which was a nod to the director, and he's been on the run ever since, trying to protect this key. And he was in Hard to Kill in '90, Die Hard 2, obviously, in 1990, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Trespass in '92, which is a badass little thriller too, Shawshank Redemption. He's been in 2 Tales from the Crypt episodes as the Mummy and the Executioner, Disturbing Behavior, The Mist, The Hills Run Red. He's been in a ton of horror stuff. So William Sadler's been around forever, and I love when he shows up. Jada Pinkett, this is before she got to Smith, plays Geraldine. CCH Pounder, who's badass in this movie, plays Irene. She owns the hotel where everything goes down. The great Dick Miller plays Uncle Willie, and he's a legend in the business. Sadly, he's not with us anymore. Thomas Hayden Church plays Roach, and he's a true piece of shit in this movie. Even Troy's like, this guy deserves to die. And he was correct. He did deserve to die, and he got it in a very good way. Now, when this movie starts, we get the famous Tales from the Crypt opening. You all know this. You've all seen this movie. I mean, this movie's been around. Troy's hasn't. This is his first watch, but we've all seen it in the past. We get that famous Tales from the Crypt episode opening. We get the Crypt Keeper setting up the store. Well, although we get a cameo by John Larroquette in the beginning. And then we're into our story, Demon Knight. And we see that fabulous car chase and car crash in the beginning of the film, and we set up our characters. And once we get to the hotel, and the collector shows up with the cops and punches his fist through the one cop's face, which Troy was like, holy shit, he just punched through that cop's face. You were a little surprised by that, weren't you?
Yes, very surprised.
It was a cool moment, though. And then he rips the guy's head off and punches Breaker in the face with it. And then we see the demons come up from the ground, which you got practical effects. The practical effects look great in this film. Todd Masters worked on the effects. Kevin Yeager worked on the effects. All the same crew that worked on the TV series came over to do the movie. And then pretty much we have a siege movie. Yeah, the practical effects are great. A head punch, I laugh my ass off every time. It's great. It's just a great moment. It's so nonchalant. I just punches him right in the face with the head, and off we go. And then we introduce the key and how it can protect everybody. Troy's like, what's in the key? I'm like, it's blood. He's like, why does it do that? I'm like, I'll explain it. You got to wait. I can't tell you everything. And then pretty much once we're trapped in the church, I mean, they set up all the characters. You kind of get a quick get to know them, what each character is all about. And but once we're trapped together and people die off and it's getting whittled down, we really get to know everybody even more. Like we find out Roach is truly a piece of shit and he's not to be trusted, although they trust him anyway. I don't know why. And then they're trying to find a way out. They don't believe Breaker, and we get the backstory, which I love the backstory of this movie, and I love how he passes it on to Geraldine when he passes the key off to her at the end of the film when he gets killed. I just like how it's almost like he's imprinting the history onto the next protector of the key. And we know the key shows back up in Bordello Blood anyway, although it's not used to the same effect as it is here. In that one, it helps control the vampires. Here, it's the only thing between mankind and total darkness, and basically evil taking over the earth. And yeah, we get that great finale of Geraldine going at it with the Collector, and she outsmarts him. And then we see at the end of the film, we get a new Collector chasing her. And then we get the outro with the Crypt Keeper, and then he announces a movie. If you watch past the credits, and I don't know how many you ever have, once the credits are over, the Crypt Keeper comes back up, and he announces their next film, Dead Easy, which was supposed to be a zombie movie set in New Orleans, and they never made that film. But if you watch through the credits, if you've never done it, watch. He pops up, and he gives the announcement that their next film, and he even says what the title is. So that's pretty wild. They had a plan, and then they just tossed it out and went with Bordello of Blood, because that was not the original plan. So while we're still talking about the movie, Troy, what was your favorite gore gag in the movie? Let's talk, because there's some cool gore gags here. And what was your favorite?
Probably when Roach gets eaten alive.
Oh, when they all gang up on him and you see blood squirting everywhere.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Troy was almost standing up clapping at that moment because he's like, I want this scumbag to die. And I'm just sitting there with a smile on my face. I'm like, just wait, son. Just wait. He's going to get his comeuppance. I would have to say gore. Tell me down in the comments what's your favorite gore gag. What's your favorite kill? What's your favorite gore gag? Because there's a ton of cool ones in this movie. I got to say, the head punch is awesome. I love that. And when he rips his head off and punches Breaker with it, I love it. But I got to say, it's a small moment. It really is. And it's not a big gore gag, but I love when that girl, the hooker that stays at the hotel, rips off, when she's possessed, rips off Irene's arm. I always love that. I don't know why. I always have a smile on my face when it happens, because it sets up that gag later on when the Collector's trying to convince Irene to help him. The smoking nipple. Oh, I love when Bob's trying to describe it, Brandon. It's almost like a lube job, and it's hilarious. Every time I watch it, I laugh my ass off at that moment. I love because it sets up later when a Collector tries to convince Irene to help him, and he has her arm on a platter saying, I can give you your arm back. And she goes like this with the stump, and he goes, is that a yes? And she's like, no, that's me giving you the finger, asshole. Because I know what it sets up later because I've seen it how many times. I just love that moment. It just, I don't know, gets me every time. It's hilarious. And then you got the grenades at the end.
Well, I wish when she was said she was giving him the finger, I wish it showed the arm just giving the finger.
The finger, that would have been cool. That would have been cool. I love how Billy Zane plays it, though. Like, he has a sense of, like, amusement to it. Like, this is just amusing to him, and he's having fun. Like, he's having a blast. It's not until the end, like, when Geraldine's really giving him a hard time, where he gets pissed off, and he's like, all right, enough of this shit. Let's just get down to it. But I love how he tries to convince, and obviously Uncle Willie with naked girls around him, he gets him because he's an alcoholic, and he was an easy target. And that's why he targets the hooker earlier on, because she's obviously emotionally damaged. So he found his in by trying to treat her nicely, and she went for it. And then poor Charles Fleischer gets his face ripped off. By the way, I don't know how many of you know that, but Charles Fleischer, the guy who plays, I can't remember his character's name at the moment, but the guy that had a crush on her and was gonna rip off the post office, he was the voice of Roger Rabbit Plus, he was in Zodiac. He was in a bunch of movies. He's still acting to this day. But he was the voice of Roger Rabbit for that movie, for Zemeckis. What did you think of the demons?
They were cool.
With the one for Halloween?
They looked like something out of, I don't remember the name.
A video game you play?
Resident Evil.
Oh. Well, this movie came out before there was a Resident Evil video game. But a lot of video games take inspiration from movies.
Or Dawn of the Dead. No, kind of reminds me.
Because Mortal Kombat took inspiration from Big Trouble in Little China. They took characters right out. I mean, and Metal Gear Solid had Solid Snake from Escape from New York. That was a nod to Escape from New York. So I'm not surprised that some video games, they just took inspiration from movies they like.
It looks like, I can't remember the name, but there's like games where you're in like a zombie apocalypse and stuff, and those zombies look like they came straight out of that.
Well, these are demons, they're not zombies.
Well, same thing.
The funny thing, I was telling Troy, doing some research on this film, originally, when they greenlit the movie, they had two scripts. One script was with no demons. They were just going to have guys dressed in black suits and sunglasses on. I'm not joking. This is because of the money to make the demons. And they had a script with the demons. And after consideration, Universal decided to give them a little bit more money so they could do the demons, which I think was the right choice. Because they look badass and they look more threatening than a couple of dudes dressed in black suits. So I think they definitely made the right choice for that. What do you say?
Yeah.
And this movie didn't hold back on the gore. I mean, there's some really great gore here. It definitely earned its R rating, especially coming out of the late 80s, early 90s, where the MPAA was cracking down on horror movies. And neutering them, especially like the Friday the 13th films late in the game and all that stuff. So they got away with a lot of cool stuff here. Now, as I was saying earlier, the script for this film goes back all the way to 1987. And Tom Holland, who directed Fright Night, wrote Psycho 2, directed Child's Play, was supposed to direct this film. He was doing Child's Play. He was attached to direct Demon Knight at the time. And by the time he finished up Child's Play, he decided to walk away. And then the script was going to be made by Mary Lambert, who directed Pet Sematary. But unfortunately for her, by the time she was interested in doing it, she had made Pet Sematary 2 and it bombed, so nobody would give her money to make it. So then the movie went to Charles Band, who made all the Puppet Master movies. Yeah, that would have been cool because Tom Holland would have definitely stayed with, he would have did some cool stuff with this film for sure. And then Charles Band had it, but he couldn't get, he worked in a low budget space. All those Puppet Master movies were made fairly cheaply. So they couldn't get enough money to make the film. Joel Silver got his hands on it, and by that point, Joel Silver was a big producer, and he already was working with the Tales from the Crypt crew. So they got it, and that's how they ended up making it at Universal Studios. But it went through a lot. It was around for a long time before they got around to actually making this film. Like I said, this was released on Friday the 13th, January of Friday the 13th. Unfortunately, I think they picked the wrong month. It should have been an October release. I mean, this was made for Halloween season. I don't know why they... Don't you agree? Like, this should have been a Halloween release. Yeah. Not a middle of the winter release for sure. This is Billy Zane's personal favorite film he's ever done. In terms of his performance... he's quoted as saying this is like his favorite film he's ever done, which that's pretty cool that he, it's a horror movie. Some actors look down on that, but he doesn't. I think that's pretty cool. What's funny about his career, though, I like Billy Zane as an actor, but after Titanic, which was the biggest movie of all time when it came out, he kind of went away and just did direct-to-video stuff. And even to this day, like he'll pop up here and there, but he mostly does direct-to-video stuff. And I don't know why that is, if that was a choice he made. Or what? Because he's a really good actor, but I don't know what happened to him. I miss Billy Zane. Please put him in a theatrical movie. Please bring him back to Hollywood. Maybe he doesn't want to be in Hollywood. I don't know. Like I said, they built all these sets in an aircraft hangar in Van Nuys, California. Birds had nested up in the rafters, so it was playing hell on the audio, trying to record audio into space. So what they had to do to be able to get clear audio was they would fire off blanks out of one of the guns, and the birds would shut up or scatter, and then they could film. And then when they would reset, they'd have to do it again. So they were constantly setting off blanks to get the birds to go away and shut up for them to be able to record audio on set. As I said before, during the closing credits, the Crypt Keeper announces a new coming film called Dead Easy, which was intended as the second. Once this took the first movie out of the gate for Tales from the Crypt trilogy they were planning, Dead Easy was going to be the second film, but like I said, it never happened, and Bordello of the Blood was the movie they made next, which I actually like Bordello of Blood. It's not better than this one, but it's a hell of a lot of fun and gory as hell. This film was actually shot during the hiatus in filming on the seasons on HBO. They were on their break, and they went off and shot this movie, and then they went back to shooting the TV series. Sorry, going through my notes here. I wrote a bunch of notes down here. Oh, you're going to love this one, especially you, Brandon. According to Billy Zane, he based his character, the Collector, on Robin Williams' Genie from Aladdin. But his version's the version from Hell. But that was his inspiration for the Collector. And actually, knowing that fact and watching the movie now, I can see that a little bit. If you watch his performance, I can see that a lot. I already went through a lot of this stuff. Oh, okay. Here's a funny little tidbit. It's probably my last little tidbit. Dick Miller joked after when the movie was coming out, like in press and that scene with him with all the naked chicks and Billy Zane was serving him drinks. He said it took him 17 takes to get that take in because he was distracted by all the pretty girls around him. He said he couldn't concentrate, so he kept flubbing his lines and he couldn't concentrate. So it took him 17 takes to actually get that in. I could see that. That would be a little tough day on set for Dick Miller. And he does have that great line when he goes, "Holy shit." I mean, Dick Miller is a legend. I love when he pops up in films. But you know, it's a shame that they didn't make more Tales from the Crypt movies. I know Bordello of Blood bombed, unfortunately, when it released, and they made a direct-to-video movie, which I've never seen, Ritual. That was the third movie they made. Yeah, Brandon, I love that way he said that. That line delivery is perfect. Picture perfect. It's a shame. I never saw Ritual, though. I think it's streaming on Tubi. Troy's like, "Do you ever see the third one?" I'm like, "I actually have never seen the third one. I gotta watch that. I heard it's okay, but I've never seen it, so I gotta check that out." I told Troy I like Bordello of Blood. It's just a campy good time. It's really gory, but it's not as good as Demon Knight. Demon Knight was the best one. It's just a shame. I wish it's a brand I wish they would bring back. I know there's a lot of rights issues. That's why there's no official Blu-ray release of the TV series. Supposedly the rights are totally fucked, and which I don't know how. I don't know why that is. I've never heard a good explanation for it other than they said the rights are entangled, and that's why you haven't got a proper upgrade on the physical release end of it. Now, my father-in-law, his grandfather, has every episode. He bought it off eBay, so it was like a copied version of, you know, somebody made a box set of all the episodes from the old DVDs. So he has all the episodes. I only had the first two seasons, and they're not streaming on HBO Max. I don't know if they're streaming anywhere, honestly. Again, like I said, I saw an interview with William Girdler or somebody, and they said the rights are just a mess. That's why you never saw a cleaned up version of this great series. I hope Demon Knight gets a 4K. I'm sure Scream Factory is working on it. It severely needs one. It's a beautiful looking movie, and I think in 4K it'll look even better. Because Dickerson did a really nice job with the directing. I think he knocked it out of the park, and considering he didn't come from horror, he did a really nice job. I mean, he would go on to direct another horror film later on called Bones, that one with Snoop Dogg. I think that came out in 2011. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the year that came out. But he wasn't a horror movie director. But he did a really nice job with this film. He's still working today. He does a lot of TV work, a lot of TV you probably have seen. So, yeah, he definitely does a nice job here. And the score, honestly, Danny Elfman does the Tales from the Crypt score in the beginning, the intro. And the score for the movie was peppered in with the rock songs because you hear Pantera at one point, filter right in the beginning of the film, and other music as you go along. Some of the rap songs are peppered throughout as well. But at the end of the day, this is a movie I used to watch a lot. Rich could attest to that. I mean, me and Rich watched it a bunch of times in the 90s and 2000s. I usually watch this around Halloween time because it just feels right. You know, it feels like a Halloween movie to me. And I'm glad I got to watch it with my son. He finally got to watch it. This was my pick this month. Troy has a pick. We'll announce it in a minute what his pick for next month is. He wanted to do Terrifier again, but I said, nah, not yet. Your mom will kill me if she finds out I'll let you watch Terrifier. Literally might kill me. But I'm going to let Troy tell you what he really liked about the movie and give you his rating. And then I'll give you my rating. And let me know what you think of it out of 10. Or give me Letterboxd. Doesn't matter. Out of 5 stars, what would you guys give this movie out there? Is this a movie you've seen a lot over the years? Let me know. I greatly appreciate that. So, Troy, what did you like about Demon Knight?
7.5. You asked me what.
Well, obviously he's going to give it a 7.5, but we'll still go back and let you say what you liked about the movie.
I liked a lot of the kills. They looked really good. And the demons looked insanely great.
I love their glow-in-the-dark green eyes. That's cool as hell.
I love how they looked like they've been through a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I like when they're born, when they're like coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
That was cool effects. Yeah, I think his score will go up over time. Kurt, you haven't seen it in a while? I don't even know if it's streaming anywhere, honestly. I've had the Blu-ray for a while. Scream Factory did a nice job. There's some special features on it. We didn't get to watch those, but I've watched them in the past. Yeah, this is a movie, like I said, I watched this a lot over the years. Like I said, I've owned it in every iteration. I've had it on VHS, DVD. I have it on Blu-ray now. I love the creature design's badass. The performances rock across the board. Everybody's great here. CGH Pounder's great. I love her performance. Everybody's great here. Even Jada Pinkett, I like her here. And I'm not a huge fan of her as an actress, but I like her here and the role she's got. And William Sadler's a legend. He's a great character actor. And everybody's great. Thomas Hayden Church, I've always liked him. He's great as a scumbag, piece of shit, diner worker that's just willing to screw over anybody to get his ass out of trouble. Although I don't know how he couldn't figure he was going to die. But 8.5 out of 10, Rich. That's a good score, Rich. I like it. I like it a lot. I like the score, the sound design. It's just a badass, fun creature feature. It really, really is. And I would give this bad boy a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. I love this film. And again, I like Bordello of Blood. What do you guys think of Bordello of Blood? It's not as good as this one. I'm not saying it is, but it's a fun movie too, in its own right, in its own cheesy, out of its goddamn. That movie's insane. Some of the shit that's in that movie, but I've always enjoyed that one too. I have it on Blu-ray. I had the Blu-ray for that one. That was a mess of production. So I would give it a 9 out of 10. This is a movie I've essentially been watching since before I graduated high school, and I still like it to this day. Now, we did Texas Chainsaw Massacre last month. Moving on to next month, what the movie's going to be. So I asked Troy what he wanted to watch, what he wanted to cover. He first said Terrifier. Like I said, I had to talk him off the ledge because, again, his mother will smother me in my sleep. No, I'm just joking. I love you, honey. But he's not ready for that one. If you've seen Terrifier, you know why he's not ready for that one. I think you would all agree with me. One scene in particular comes to mind. I don't think I have to go into detail on that one. If you've seen it, you know. If you're in the know, if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? So I said to Troy, think of something else. I have a shit ton of movies. So I said, what do you want to do? So Troy, what are we watching next month?
Forgot. The Texas Chainsaw remake.
He wants to do the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, and I said, you know what? It's a theme. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. I like it. Yeah, Kurt, don't let him watch it. Nothing good can come from it. So we are gonna do Texas Chainsaw 2003. If I don't know how many of you've ever seen this one. I saw it in the theaters opening weekend when it came out. It was produced by Platinum Dunes, Michael Bay's company. Jessica Biel's in it. I know you gentlemen know what I'm talking about. Um, there's one shot in particular that comes to mind in that movie. Why I would say Jessica Biel in that movie over and over and over again. Some cool gore in this film. Not to get too deep into it if you've never seen it. Brandon, I don't think you've seen it, I guess. It's I dig this remake. It's been a while since I've watched it. Well, Rich, just watched Demon Knight, and there's a lot of scantily clad women in that one, Rich. So yeah, we're gonna do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I'm sorry, Mom. Hey, you gotta rip the bandit off sooner or later. Oh, you only seen the first two? I'd recommend part 3. You could skip part 4 unless you're curious, Brandon, because part 4, it's not a good movie, and it might literally been made by insane people. The movie is insane. But somehow they got Matthew McConaughey, Renee Zellweger to be in it. So on that alone, it's worth watching just to see their performances, but the movie is batshit insane. It doesn't make any sense, but it's batshit insane. But part 3 is worth seeing, and the remake's worth watching, and the prequel to the remake's worth watching as well. So yeah, we're going to cover this bad boy next month. Troy's pick. We're sticking with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one more month, and then June will be my pick. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Rich. So yeah, it'll be. I haven't seen it in a while, but I've seen it many times over the years. So I'm interested to rewatch, and Troy's never seen it, so we'll see what he feels about it. See if he likes it better than the original. Well, you got to do a deep dive, Brandon. Do a deep dive. You'll be happy you did. There's some gold in there, Brandon. There's some gold. There's some shit, but there's some gold too. I don't mind saying. So yeah, Texas Chainsaw 2003. I don't know if that's streaming anywhere either, honestly. Maybe on Tubi? Maybe. I don't know. I was just on Tubi the other night watching a movie. I don't remember seeing it, but it could be on there. Some of these movies are hard to stream for free. Like on some of these services, they're not available. I've been finding that more and more. It might be just movies I want to watch or it's not on there. But I've noticed that certain movies are hard to find on the streaming services. But Tubi's always a great resource. If you don't own it, Tubi's worth checking out because it's a free app. You got to watch some commercials, but they do show them unrated. So the way God meant them for them to be seen. So yeah, Tubi's a great resource, but they don't have everything. But they do have a great selection on there. So if you don't own it, check Tubi. It might be on. Actually, you know what? While we have you on here, I'm going to check for you. Let's see if this bad boy's streaming anywhere. Because I am not sure. I have that Blu-ray, so. Let's see. Streaming for free. Nope, not streaming for free.
Hey, Brandon just said that.
Yep. You got to rent it. If you don't own it, you got to rent it. That's unfortunate. But like I said, some of these movies are not streaming. I don't know why. It's a New Line movie. It's a Warner Brothers movie. I don't know why it's not streaming somewhere because they usually farm out their catalogs. But this one is not. But yeah, so that's next month. I don't know what June's going to be yet. I got to think about it. I will have it for next stream. I'll announce the date. It'll definitely be before Fear Fest. It's not gonna be. I'm not going to pick Terrifier. I want to live. He still wants to watch Terrifier. I'm like, dude, no, we're not there yet.
Sure.
No, we're not there yet. But I want to thank everyone for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this stream. I know we did. We like doing this. I'm sorry if I sound a little off. My allergies to pollen. It's snowing green in North Carolina. There's pollen everywhere, and it's driving my sinuses insane. So that's why I sound a little bit off tonight. Hope I didn't sound too bad. But yeah, it's pollen season, and it sucks ass down here right now. Thank God it's going to be over in a couple weeks. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, see? Trust your dad, Troy. Terrifier is hard to watch. Trust your father. Your father's been watching these movies since he was 6 years old. Trust your father. I'm like the Darth Vader to your Luke. Yeah, it's when I first saw Halloween, 6 years old. Go Phillies. Go Phillies. Baseball's back, boys. Baseball is back. We're Phillies fans, Brandon, because we grew up in Pennsylvania. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you've had fun. We always have fun doing this. We always enjoy having you guys here with us, just talking shit about movies. It's a good time, and long live horror. And if you're going to watch Joe Bob at 9, enjoy. But that's it for us. Have a great weekend. I'm going to have a couple beers. Until next time, bye. Good stream, man. It was 40 minutes. That wasn't bad. Although I kind of padded at the end.